Welcome back. You are now looking at the desktop application of Evernote. And the strength of Evernote is your ability to take notes on just about anything and to categorize it properly. So when you click New Note, you are going to notice that you are going to have a traditional word processing interface, which means that you will be able to digital notes and include just about anything. So for example, we might have this text and we're just going to copy and paste some text in here. If there's something else that is part of the thought on what you've posted, you can actually upload and attach a file. And Evernote reminds you that when you upload an Office document, in particular one from Microsoft, that document is going to be searchable inside of Evernote. So we're going to go ahead and click OK because we just uploaded a PowerPoint presentation. And so that can be associated with all of the data that you have just entered. You can upload an image. That image, if it's part of the thought that you are trying to communicate or that you're trying to archive. Now, any additional aspect of our upload, we can actually right-click the actual document and we can annotate the image. So in this particular case, we can add information to the image and we can further give it some clarity so that again, when we are looking to search for this image or we're doing a search later on, we will have archived information that will help us. And of course, we can save our annotation. The key is that once we have archived this information, it's going to be searchable and it's going to be synced across our devices. We can also add to the document with written notes. So if we capture it with an image, we can take our photo and we can have this added to the document. When we save it as a document, that means then that this content is actually going to be searchable. We'll click Save, and now this document is now part of our note. So again, this gives us added flexibility of being able to add to something and to continue to keep all of the thoughts in one place and to be able to archive it appropriately. Now, in another video in this series, we are actually going to show you how to categorize and how to notate so that you'll be able to find things easy. However, one of the things you want to be aware of is that with Evernote, you will be able to find information according to the words that you have placed in here, whether or not they're from images or from the actual text. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now in this video, we are going to integrate our calendar in our platform with Evernote. Now we're going to go through three popular calendar integrations: Google, iCal, and Outlook, which covers most, if not all, digital calendar users. Now, in order to integrate Google with Evernote, what you'll need to do is you'll need to write in the phrase into Google, integrate calendar with Evernote. You'll find a specific search result inside of the IFT website, and it will say connect Google Calendar to Evernote. When you find that search result, you're going to click it. Now, there are several connections between your Google Calendar and Evernote. What you'll do is you'll scroll through the different integrations and you'll choose the one that helps you best. And once you do that, what you're going to do is you're going to click the recipe. And when you get the recipe, what you're going to do is you're going to click Turn On. And then IFT is going to ask for permission to access your Google Calendar. You'll click OK. IFT will say it wants to manage your calendar. You're going to click Allow. And depending on the particular recipe, you will then be brought to a configuration screen. And what you'll need to do is you'll need to set up your parameters for the recipe. And in some cases, IFT will give you the opportunity to do what it calls add an ingredient. And so if you look at the actual description of the ingredient, you can actually add in the new ingredient to the recipe. And you'll see the addition being made. You can add in another ingredient here, and this will happen from time to time within recipes. Once you have added all the ingredients and you have configured your recipe, you can then click Save. What you'll want to do at that point is you'll want to make sure that the applet runs, and you can do that by clicking Check Now. IFTTT will say you that the applet has been checked, and now your application is ready to run inside of both Google Calendar and Evernote. So the key will be understanding which of the recipes you want to actually work with your Evernote categorization system. You'll then set up and then configure the recipe. Now, in order to connect to iCal, what you're going to do is you're going to click your mail icon if you are in Apple. And you can do a similar exercise if you are in Android. You want to look to your mail application. And what you're going to do is you're going to either choose both Google, which integrates into Evernote in the way that we just showed you, or you're going to choose Outlook. What will happen then is that the calendar will sync based on that third-party connection. So once again, you can choose either Outlook or Google to sync with Evernote, and then sync either Google or Outlook with your mail system so that iCal calendar will reflect what's in Evernote. Now, to integrate your Outlook calendar, what you're actually going to do is you're going to do this from the Microsoft side, and you're going to do this through the Microsoft Office store. Now, once you arrive at the page, you are going to see that there are certain products within the Outlook family that are going to be supported. And if that is one of yours, then what you're going to do is you're going to then click Get It Now. And once you've done that, then your integration will be complete between Evernote and Microsoft Outlook's calendar. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now in this video, we're going to talk about filing and organization. And this is really the strength of Evernote. And it gives you several options to use in order to categorize your information. Now, the most obvious is that you can actually tag every note that you put together. So, in other words, there's a note that has lots of text in it. That text is going to be searchable. However, we may want to give that text some context. And so we can do that with tags. And if we're inside of the desktop app, all we'll need to do is to click Add Tag. And then we're just going to write in contextual information that will help us to find similar information when we want it. And what this means then is that when our information is properly synced, and we were to go looking for all of the documents that had classified ads or direct marketing, the one that we just notated would be one of those that we would find. And so tagging is one good way that we have available to us in Evernote of classifying our information. Now the notes are saved into notebooks, and this can have different groupings of notes that you think are similar or that give you a category that you like to keep together. And you can create as many notebooks as you want, and you want to create them according to a system that's going to make sense for you. Those notebooks can be further categorized into stacks. And so we can take a notebook, we can right-click that notebook, and we can add that to a specific stack that we create. Once again, it gives us the latitude of being able to name and create a stack that makes sense for our categorization. And everything that we associate with our document can be categorized and annotated. And all we'll need to do is to go to the actual image or the actual piece of information and then right-click it. We can rename that document whatever we want it to be. And you'll see that here. Now, what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a system that's going to be easy to manage, yet at the same time provides us information when we need it. We don't want to do searching and get an overwhelming number of responses, because then that makes our search cumbersome. Now, one of the other things that you can do is you can actually tag by setting a reminder. And you can go to this right-hand menu and you can click Reminder. and you can add a date to the note. Now, obviously, there is a date posted and a date created that does give your document some context. However, when you remind yourself to look at it at a specific point in time, you are giving yourself another level of categorization that you can actually help yourself to look at it again when it's time. And so you can use the reminder feature in that manner. Now, for hints of more customization, all you'll need to do is to click this information button. You can actually change any of this information to fit what it is that you want to search for. So for example, if you want to set a source URL, if you want to set a location, you can do that. And you can actually view the additional history as it is according to the document. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now in this video, we want to discuss task integration. Evernote as it stands is not created for us to manage tasks in this platform. However, there are some direct integrations that you can actually use in order to integrate tasks and Evernote. In order to do that, you are actually going to click the search bar, and then we're going to click task. Now, there are 5 associated apps with productivity and tasks. There's Ifty, which we have seen before, Zapier, and a few others. So one of the ways that we can actually use Evernote and some kind of task manager is to tie them together through an application like Ifty or one like Zapier. In fact, Zapier ties to the popular task manager called Wunderlist. And in fact, Wunderlist and Evernote have at least 8 different integrations that you can actually use in order to integrate tasks and your use of Evernote. So for example, in going into Zapier, you'll find that the connection point is that you can create a note in Evernote and then have Zapier work inside of Wunderlist to automatically create a task. And of course, all you'll need is your Evernote account and your Wunderlist account. You would then click what's called creating a zap. So the triggering action is that when a new note is created in a specific notebook. So we'll now need to collect an Evernote account. We'll allow Zapier to connect with our Evernote. We'll then put in our password. We'll give Zapier permission to work with Evernote. So now our Evernote account is connected. We're going to click Save and Continue. And then what we're going to do is we're going to select some advanced options. And then we're going to make sure that we use a specific notebook. So in this particular case, we're going to use the email content and copy notebook. What we're going to do now is we're going to click Continue. So to test our trigger, we want to have at least one note recently created. We're going to click Fetch and Continue. And Evernote says that our test has been successful. So now we will then click Continue. What we will do now is we will create a task inside of Wunderlist. We need to connect a Wunderlist account. We're now going to sign in. And we should test our Wunderlist account. When we are successful, we can click Save and Continue. And then we will write in a title. And we'll then click Continue. What we will do now is we will send a test to Wunderlist. And our task has just been sent to Wunderlist. So now what we can do is we can check Wunderlist to make sure that our task is now there. And if we look, our task has been added from Zapier into Wunderlist to help us to manage our tasks. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. You are now looking at Google Drive, and Google Drive is where you can not only have storage, but also all of the documents that you have within the Google Docs system. So anything that you have created in the way of slides, in the way of word processing documents, in the way of spreadsheets. It's all available inside of Google Drive. And that's in addition to any other content that you have posted or linked in this area. As you can see, all users have available to them 15 gigabytes of storage space using Google Drive. And all is directed under the Gmail system. Currently, Evernote integrates directly with Google Drive. And you can see within any note, you'll be able to actually attach a file from Google Drive. So what we need to do is to create the integration. And you'll notice that this integration is available on all platforms except for Internet Explorer and Firefox. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and set up the integration. And we're going to do that by clicking the Try Now button. And that's going to take us to our Evernote account to sign in. What we'll need to do is to go inside of our settings. We can access them by going to the account area, then clicking on the settings, and then we can go to the connected services. And you're going to notice that the Google Drive area is not necessarily signed into. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this on for Google Drive. That'll bring us through the sign in, and we're going to click allow. And then we will be connected to Google Drive. We can also sign in with Google in one click, and we are then connected. So now we'll want to make sure that all of our devices are now synced. And so we'll go to our desktop and we'll click sync. That means now that our desktop is now synced to the web application. That now means then that if we go to a certain point in our document and we actually put a spaceholder in there, we can then go and get our Google Drive information. So we can click Attach File from Google Drive. And what you'll see now from within Evernote are all of the documents that are available within Google Drive, except that they are now inside of Evernote. So we have a full integration. So all we'll need to do is we'll need to click on what we want to select and then click the select button. And you'll see now that this Google Drive document has now been linked inside of our notes. Now, just as is the case with all the other content, this content is now searchable within our Evernote. And the same is true in the web app. And just as a point of reference, you will not be able to search the content of these documents, but you will be able to search their titles. And because this is an online application, this will not count towards your upload quota for the month. So using Google Drive is really a way of being able to extend the storage capability of Evernote. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video.